My name is Dave Nellist, and I've organised tonight's meeting together with help from senior trade union representatives on the TUSC steering committee and from the collective. I was elected to the House of Commons in 1983 with Jeremy as a Labour MP. I was expelled from the Labour Party in 1992 for being prepared to go to prison over the poll tax, and later spent 14 years as an independent socialist councillor on Coventry City Council for the Socialist Party. I'm now the national chair of TUSC, which was co-founded by Bob Crow, the late General Secretary of the RMT.
If the government is able to get away with appointing commissioners in Birmingham, whose job appears to be to make workers pay for the financial problems of the local authority rather than dealing with the issue of what the financial problems actually are, then it will be tried elsewhere. I think we need an alternative political voice. We need an alternative political party. It's got to be a political organisation that is rooted within our communities, rooted in the democratic activities of people in their community. So there needs to be the voice of community independence all around the country, the voice of local communities all around the country, the voice of trade union members all around the country, and the voice of the political left all over the country.
So inspiring to see nearly, over 1,000 people on this call, and also the fact that over 100,000 sign-ups after I posted my resignation letter from the Labour Party. We all know that there's a real appetite and energy for a new left-wing force, a party that stands with workers, not just the wealthy, a genuine democratic socialist alternative that is rooted in the trade union movement and built by and for our class, the working class.
The principal reason that we've had this short meeting this evening is for a business-like, practical discussion of the steps we can take to bring forward a new party that's rooted in the organisations and communities of the working class, and of the role in which organised trade union activists like yourselves can play. We have members tonight of at least 30 of the 48 TUC affiliated unions. 9 of the 11 unions affiliated to Labour have members here, and some are in large numbers. We have around 200 Unison activists and over 500 activists from Unite.
Hand in hand with an industrial fight, there has to be a political fight. An industrial fight alone cannot win lasting change, lasting social change. I think we need a focal point. We need a party. We need something that people can identify with. But with that, I would say to people in the trade union movement, don't outsource your politics to a party. The trade unions have to be absolutely integral to the development of that new party.
With some immediate organisation by mainly Unite Broad Left supporters and Socialist Party members, an emergency motion was put together which promised, first of all, obviously, solidarity to the bin workers, agreed to suspend all Birmingham Labour councillors and Angela Rayner from Unite membership, and also pledged significantly that if the council went ahead with its fire and rehire, we would call a conference to discuss Unite's relationship with the Labour Party. Although it wasn't explicitly part of the motion, obviously the main consideration would be whether to disaffiliate from Labour, and we are Labour's biggest backer. When this motion was put to the conference by a young rep, he received an overwhelming standing ovation, and the motion passed with just 5 out of 800 delegates abstaining. I don't even think anyone voted against it. It certainly feels like Unite is strongly positioned to disaffiliate and to consider alternative political representation.
I'd like to draw your attention to one of the policies that was adopted by my union at its annual congress back in May. I feel is completely integral to today's focus of discussion, the creation of a new anti-austerity, anti-war party rooted in the trade unions. The resolution and the motion I move there on behalf of my college is an example of what trade unionists can fight for to help put unions centre stage in the launch of an alternative political voice to Labour. And I would encourage other unions to follow our example with similar motions. This Congress resolves 1, to invite Jeremy Corbyn, the Independent Alliance in Parliament, and other pro-worker MPs to attend our National Executive for discussion about how they can support our union's fight for post-16 education funding in Parliament, and 2, to encourage UCU members to stand in elections, linking up with other trade unionists to fight for our union's policies. So there you have it in embryo. Not just the urgent need for an alternative political representation, but also crucially for that representation to come directly from ourselves, the trade unions. So we now have both those calls enshrined in policy in UCU. But the question is, as well as the challenge, what should we do now to ensure that that resolution is put into practice? Clearly, we have to put persistent pressure on our General Secretary and the National Executive. It is vital that in the next months, UCU branches across the country insist on the implementation of that policy. Local reps and activists have to take the lead in this. And if any of you are at this meeting, I invite you to get in touch with me.
I, along with others on the National Executive, have put forward the need to speak to all the MPs currently not part of Labour or Tories, to form an independent group voice, to work with the NEU and education workers to push what is needed loudly and clearly in Westminster. In September, I will circulate a model motion to pass in NEU branches, similar to the one that Marco's just mentioned passed in the UCU this week, to work with those independent or Green MPs who are willing to stand up for workers. So if you're in the NEU, please do reach out to me or look out for my emails and messages so we together can support the NEU leadership in reaching out and creating a political voice for education.
So the left inside PCS are putting a motion to the National Executive Committee this week, which basically and quickly sets out all the things that we're discussing here, and also says, you know, it is vital now that we look at if and how we can develop a programme around which people can unite with the potential that I think we're all grasping here now as to whether or not we're in a position to set up a new workers' party, because many, many people think that is absolutely vital now. And what we're asking the NEC to do is to look at the parliamentary group that we currently work with inside our union to see what their voting record is on all those issues that I don't need to repeat again, but the benefits stuff, the 2-child benefit cap, etc., to see what their record is and to look, if possible, and if required, I hope it's not, to reconstitute that body based on MPs that truly do support our policies. But more importantly, in many ways, to invite people like Jeremy Corbyn, Zarah and so on, to come to the NEC and discuss if and how we can influence the potential developments that the meeting tonight could produce. But also, thirdly, to work with other areas. We've heard from the comrade from Unite, we've heard from the comrade from UCU and NEU, also how our union, PCS, can work together with other unions to develop the relevant programme and to discuss the issues that we all face.
When speakers exposed the role of Labour and opposed them and said we needed a new workers' party, then everybody applauded, young workers especially. There's a campaign for the new General Secretary this year, and it has already kicked off. And there's a rally tonight for the left, Andrew Egan rally tonight, who's standing against Christine McAnear. And one of her election manifesto promises is to review Unison's relationship with the Labour Party. That's what she's going to do. She's going to review that relationship. But as I have said to her, and we've said in a Time for Real Change sort of rally in Liverpool at the conference, that she needs to do more than review the relationship with Labour. Unison needs to do more than that, because the Labour link is very tightly controlled on that. She needs to be campaigning for a new workers' party. That should be part of her manifesto. That should be part of her discussion.
This is a year where
we're facing the Senate elections next spring, and obviously it's time to put maximum pressure on politicians as well. And you'd expect them to be listening to trade unionists. So we've decided to take forward the initiative, actually look at organising a conference to discuss the crisis in political representation for the working class in Wales, really trying to take the bull by the horns and actually get the trade union movement to give a lead in terms of what is really lacking in Wales.
My name is Nancy Taff and I'm a Unite rep. I'm also president of Waltham Forest Trades Council and a Socialist Party member. And I seconded the motion which was passed at Unite Policy Conference suspending Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, from Unite membership pending an investigation, along with Birmingham City Councillors in the Labour Party. I was one of 6 Socialist Party delegates at that conference in a hall of over 800. And obviously we worked for our branches, but we also worked as active socialists within the conference. We gave our bulletin out to discuss socialist ideas. We sold our paper. We leafleted for our fringe meeting, and we held a fringe meeting. Our speakers raised the need for nationalisation of water, of steel, of transport. I believe we injected socialism and socialist discussion into the conference, not just being anti-austerity. And in doing so, we revealed the lack of socialism in the current Labour government and in Angela Rayner herself. Sharon Graham called the policy conference the Parliament of Unite. And this week reflected the best democratic traditions of the Labour movement. And I believe any new mass workers' party must replicate these long-held democratic traditions in the sense that it must be broad, it must be federal, and it must be inclusive. I was pleased to hear that Marco and Sheila were talking about passing motions calling for a new mass workers' party through their rank and file trade union organisations. That Catherine talked about bringing it together, a conference of trade unionists along the same motion, along the same lines. We all as trade unionists need to move now. We need to take action and move these motions with the aim of building up momentum towards this new party being born.
We haven't got a party of our own we can rely on, one with coherent and solid anti-austerity, anti-war, socialist policies that we can take out to the working class. And we have to build serious roots in the weeks and months ahead in the organisations and the communities of the working class, and put trade unionists and trade unions at the heart of this very encouraging development, and that's the prospect of a new party. But time isn't on our side. I make this point to finish just one more time. The elections next year for local councils are twice as big as they were this year. Reform got nearly 700 new councillors in May of this year, unchallenged, leaving just the establishment parties, which 80 to 90% of working people are turning away from. We have now the contact details of well over 1,000, it may be maybe 1,500 by the end of this evening, of people who want to involve their colleagues in the workplace and in the trade union structures in discussing practical business-like steps. How do we work to bring this forward in front of more members? And therefore, one of the things we will organise from tonight, particularly in those unions where, as I mentioned earlier on, we've got at least dozens and in some cases hundreds of people here on the call from the same union. We'll get the NEC members who've been associated with the campaign, including those who've spoken tonight from the different unions, to organise separate meetings over the next few weeks, and the detailed discussion not only can take place on what motions and meetings and other initiatives should happen within a union, but also a bigger space for more people to ask questions, make contributions, and take ownership of this as a campaign.